This is your dihybrid cross. It focuses on more than one characteristic. There are two characteristics that we focus on: tall, the height, and the color of the eye. There are two parents that have two sets of allies. The first parent ally is capital T, capital B, and lowercase b. The oh, second parent pair ally is capital T, lowercase t, big B, little b. To to make the ally pairs, first you gotta use the FOIL method. You gotta distribute the T on both capital B and lowercase b, and you gotta do the same thing to the second letter. You gotta distribute it to both of them. So in this case, we got um four possible outcomes. There are T. There are all of these. The second parent gotta do the same method, and we gotta distribute the T into these both B, and gotta do the same as the lowercase b. Then we gotta use a Punnett square, but it has to be a 16 square, 4 by 4 square, and we gotta put the the pairs on each row. So we gotta fill in the blanks by putting the dominant ally first, then the recessive, and we gotta put capital T, in this case B, capital B, and capital B. In the second one, there's capital B, T, capital T. You gotta put the dominant first, then the recessive, and you gotta fill it out all of the squares. To find the genotypic ratio, you gotta find the two letter two combinate the two possible combinations that they are. In this case, there are only two of them, and they are tall with brown eyes. So the genotypic ratio is 12:4. This means that they are tall and they have blue eyes. So the ratio is 12:4. That is equivalent to 3:1. And and to find the monohybrid cross focuses on one characteristic, and there are two pairs of allies: a dominant ally and a recessive ally. There are two sets that you can classify them as a homozygous dominant or recessive, or heterozygous. Heterozygous means that they have a dominant and a recessive ally. So in this case, you focus in just one characteristic, that is the eye color. The first parent, this is an example. The first parent pair of allies are a dominant, and the second is a recessive. Um, so big R, capital R, ally means brown, and lowercase r means blue. So you gotta distribute the both allies into one square each. So the dominant ally comes first before the recessive. So capital R, lowercase r. In this case, they are not a dominant ally, so you gotta follow the pattern. So r, lowercase r, and lowercase r. In this case, they are a dominant ally, so you gotta put it first, and it gives you big R and little r. In the fourth box, there's no dominant allele, so you gotta put the little r and little r. To find the genotypic ratio, you gotta find the two possible outcomes, and they are brown eyes and blue eyes. So R, big R and little r stands for brown eyes because the first ally is a dominant and the second ally is a recessive. And the second pair is blue eyes because it has no dominant ally and it has a blue instead. So you gotta count how many blue um, eyes possible outcomes can be, and there's two. So two blue eyes, and the brown it has two as well. So the ratio is 2 to 2 is equivalent to 1-to-1 ratio. To find the percentage of the brown or blue eyes, you gotta put 2 over 4, 2 over 4 because there's 2 brown and there's 4 squares. To find the percentage, multiply 100 times 2, then divided by 4 and give you 50%. And you do the same as you do the same method as the blue eyes.